Welcome back, everybody. Boyd with you here again. Well, we're getting down to the final part of the project Melba, the actual car part of this build series. I've made a lot of progress the last couple days. I left off with the last video talking about finishing up the body, everything we did there with the clear coat and everything. I've had the hood drying for a couple days just to be safe because we're going to do a lot of buffing on that. I'm going to show you how we fixed that couple little small imperfections in the clear coat there that wound up being right in the middle of the hood, but they're easy fixes. We'll move on to that here in the next second, but what I want to show you guys now is I've got the complete rolling chassis, engine and everything done. Kind of hold it up here for you. This is the AMT kit, of course. I'm pretty happy with the kit. I like the detail on the engine. Everything was there. Pretty much you got the starter, the distributor, the oil filter. I like the fact that they give you two sets of valve covers. So you can do both the stock and the modified engine. So you can see we've got the kind of smooth stock LS6 454 valve covers. They were just done on the white styrene, so I used the VHT chrome spray on that, on those valve covers, and also on the air cleaner lid there you can see, which looks almost like chrome. It looks really good. That stuff works really, really awesome on small parts like this. It seems to dry really fast and give a nice illusion of either polished stainless or chrome. Here's the bottom side of the chassis. Just pretty basic right here. You can see what I did here. Looks kind of nice. I just painted the entire, the whole bottom here in a matte black, and then you can see the part here. It looks like I repainted the frame in a gloss, but actually what I did is I just took some of the All-Clad aqua gloss on a brush, and I just came in and painted the parts I wanted to look a little bit more, darker black and a little bit more glossy look on the cross members, the actual frame itself, the front suspension, the rear differential, the trailing arms, the usual things you see on a GM car for that time period, and then the rest of the floor pans and everything in a kind of a matte black. Did the gas tank and some of that Testor's silver. I haven't been able to find a craft acrylic paint in pure silver yet. I'm sure they have one. My local craft, or my local Hobby Lobby on the shelves anyway, their shelves are just about bare. There aren't any craft acrylic paints there at all. I'm not sure if it's a national shortage or just there's a lot more people doing hobbies right now, and they're just everything's being sold. But anyway, I had to use testers for that, and I still use testers for small little things like that. It came out really nice. The exhaust system here I did in the craft acrylic folk art pewter. It's actually the same exact color I used on the hull of the Discovery Enterprise that I just finished. I like it. It's a nice sort of a steel look. Rather than these older cars from the factory did not come with stainless steel exhaust systems. This is depicting how it looked brand new. If it'll start to rust and everything and turn a darker color, of course. But I just built this, looking pretty pristine. You can see the bottom detail. You got the oil filter. I did the transmission bell housing and the 4-speed case in some gunmetal, which gives a kind of a cast aluminum look or whatever they were. So everything turned out really nice. You can see I did the wheels really nice. The wheels, the chrome plating on the wheels was decent. It wasn't perfect. I did the best job I could. They were kind of a little bit rough around the spokes and all that, but I painted them with the blacked out area like that you see on the SS wheels. I did the blacked out center caps. These tires come pre-lithoed with the lettering already on the tires, the old Polyglass GT tires, which were original on these. So that looks pretty good. Got the little battery painted there. And, it's missing some detail. The Chevelles are supposed to have a plastic fan shroud, and this is all kind of open. You could probably scratch make something if you wanted to, but I didn't worry about it. You just got your basic radiator. They do give you the upper radiator hose at least, your standard alternator and all that. I didn't do the spark plug wires because on this one, the distributor's way in the back and they kind of wrap around and go underneath, so you really couldn't see them that well anyway, so I just didn't bother with that. But it's looking really good. Here's the interior tub. If I can get this up in the light here for you. I did all the silver trim around the door panels. The Chevelles had a really nice, they called it an astro pattern, whatever that meant, but it had this sort of like nice little dip, in the chrome. It kind of went up in a double line all the way around the door panels and everything. And then around the dash, you can see that I did the silver trim around the edges of the bezel, around the gauges, around the steering wheel, detailed some of the knobs and everything, the radio. And the kit does come with the gauge decals, so hopefully you're seeing those and it's not too blurry. This was a 4-speed kit, so I think the car in the movie might have actually been an automatic. You can't really tell. I don't think they ever show a shot of it, but anyway, the 4-speed's in there, and it's, you know, it's all black. It's not much of a fancy interior on a Chevelle, but we got all the trim and everything in there. It looks pretty good. It looks good when you look through the windows and everything. So everything's ready to go. It's ready to sit down on here. I'm going to drop the body onto it now and get that all glued in place. I've got 2 little chrome exhaust tips that I have to put on last because you have to, you know, get it down and get it squared away. The bumper's really close to them, so we'll put those on at the very end. But I'll get this all put together, get the body mounted on there, then we're going to come back and we're going to buff out the hood. And then once we drop down the hood on this thing and put a coat of wax on it, it'll be completely done. And we'll spin it around a couple times on the old turntable for you. So I'll be back with that in just a second. Okay, you guys, Boyd here with you again, and we're getting close to the finish line on our Melba project, the car part of the build. We're still going to be coming back and building the gas station, but I've got the body all done. The body's been mounted on the chassis, interior tub is in, everything's done on that. It's looking great, and I'll show you the car here in just a little bit, but I wanted to come back on this video and show you that we had a little problem with our clear coat on the hood. If I can move this around in the light for you a little bit. I had a little fisheye, maybe 1 or 2 small little fisheyes right in the middle here, and a couple really small little pieces of dust. So being that the hood is a really important part on this, you know, any car model, the hood, the roof, and the trunk have to look really good. I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up for you. Now this has been drying for probably 2 days, 2.5 days, so it's good and dry. We're safe to buff on it without ruining it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got some, this is 600 grit wet dry paper here. It's actually a kind of an old worn out sheet. I really like to use like 1000 grit for this, but I don't have any right now. But this will work really good since it's worn down and it's, you know, about the same as 1500 right now. And so I'm just going to put some water on here, and I'm just going to start sanding. I'm going to focus on I'm going to try to keep my fingers nice and flat, and I'm going to sand on this little spot right here that I can see first off that's got the fairly deep fisheye in it. The good news is that the fisheye isn't all the way through, and this had a coat of clear on it that was dry before the fisheye appeared, so we don't have to worry about sanding all the way through the clear. I can get pretty aggressive on this, and it's already starting to look a lot better. Now, one thing that I'll talk about too, people asked me since the last video about this clear coat. This clear coat, automotive clear coat, is you know, made for cars, of course, so it's really tough, and it's meant, you know, it's meant to hold up against rock chips and the elements and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But your regular hobby type clear coats that you buy, you know, to spray model cars with, like your testers and other different brands that are out there, it's not going to be as tough as this stuff, so you can't really aggressively polish on it very much, or you're going to go right through it. It's a lot thinner, and it's just not, you know, it's not as hard. So just keep that in mind. You know, you can do a light buffing on those lacquer type clears and stuff, but usually, you know, you have to put a couple of coats of that on there if you're going to do much buffing, and you have to be a lot more careful. So that's just something to think about. I don't use any of those types of clears anymore on these cars. You know, I just buy this 2K stuff, and you know, the one that you saw in the picture there was a gallon size. That literally will last me like for several years. It seems to hold up pretty good sitting on the shelf. You just want to keep it, you know, make sure it doesn't get like way too cold or way too hot when it's sitting in storage, and it'll be just fine. Keep the lids on it nice and tight. And what's going to happen here if I can't sand this down, you know, far enough to where I can make this go away, then I'll probably just get it cleaned up good and get it, you know, looking really close, and I might have to hit it with another coat of clear, but we'll see. It's coming around. I'm just keeping a close eye on how far down I'm going. It actually was a really deep fisheye, and I have no idea why that got on there. There must have been maybe a little drop of water or something that was on it. I have no idea, but that'll happen every once in a while. But yeah, it's slowly going away, and luckily, like I said, I have a lot of clear on this, so I got plenty of room to sand. And it may require, I may have to go to just a slightly more. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some regular 600. This is a newer piece, and I'm just going to hit that one little spot with this and just, you know, get more aggressive with it and get it gone. Then I'll go back over it with this stuff and get rid of some of the sand scratches, and then we'll move on. That's just not hardly touching it there. It's just really deep. Fisheye is what it is, just a little crater in there. High spots will go away right away, like if you've got pieces of dirt or something, you know, little pieces of dust stuck in your paint, those will knock off right away. But, you know, depressions like this are harder to get rid of. So, but it's coming around. I can see it disappearing. It's working a lot better now. It's a good thing that the hood is flat right here too. If this had a little, anywhere you've got raised body lines, like the tops of the fenders or the, you know, the edges of the anything, you have to be even more careful, because of course the paint's going to be really thin in those spots and you can go through a lot easier, so be really careful. These are the same principles that apply to buffing and polishing real cars. Same thing will happen if you're over aggressive on your buffing. You'll burn through the paint on the thin spots. Yeah, it's just about completely gone now. I'll give it just a few more with this one. Make sure I keep my paper nice and flat. Yeah, it's just about gone. I can just see a barely little speck of it still there. Kind of just working it down here. The water really helps too, because you can see that it kind of helps keep the paper cleared out and not getting clogged, so it stays effective all the way through. That's the reason I like to use the wet paper, wet dry sandpaper. Okay, that's pretty much gone now. You can see it's not showing up anymore. So I'll come back with this. It's still 600, like I said, but it's a lot more worn down, and I'm going to kind of make some circular motions to sand across those straight lines that I just made. Just go over the entire hood. I'm going to lose a little bit of my Sharpie detail here on the chrome trim, but that's alright. I'll just go back and redo that after I finish here. I can feel it with my fingers getting smoother and smoother, because my sandpaper is giving less resistance when it's just kind of starting to glide around on there really nice and smooth, so it's coming down real nice. So with this water on there, you can see that it's it looks great. You know, it's got a nice gloss on it and everything. The water will kind of tell you what you're finished, you know, how it's going to look when it's all cleaned up. Go up here on the edge of this front end here. I noticed I had a little bit of dry looking finish on that. Alright, so there we go. I think we're ready to buff. I'm really happy with how that looks now. Lost a little bit of detail on our hood pins there too, but like I said, we'll just come back and touch that up. Let me get this dry. Now I've got a brand new detailer's towel here. This is the soft fiber. You can buy these at your auto parts store in a bag. They come with like 10 in a bag. These are excellent because they don't scratch, and they you know, take the lint and everything. They don't leave any lint or anything behind. Okay, I'm just giving it a good look. I see a little spot right there. If you can see that, that's a little piece of dust that's still stuck in the paint, so I'm going to hit that with my paper again. Still just use the fine stuff. That should knock that down pretty quick. Looks a lot better. Whatever's left there, we'll knock that down with the polishing compound. Okay, so I'm pretty happy now. We're looks like we're pretty much ready to buff. And I'm going to use my Dremel tool here for this. This is the Genesis, not actually the Dremel, but the Genesis, the one that kind of came out and replaced that. Now, this is very important. This tool here, even at its very lowest setting, when you first turn it on, you know, its lowest speed, it's almost a little bit too fast for polishing on something like this. If you run too high of an RPM, you're going to burn the paint, or maybe even worse, burn the plastic and warp something or whatever. So you have to be really careful, and you have to move around constantly. Don't stay, you know, grinding in one spot. Keep moving around, and use plenty of compound so it's got lubrication when it's spinning on there and not spinning dry. When you start to get down to where you're seeing the compound disappear, you want to stop, put some more compound on there, and have at it again. These little wool pads come with the accessory kit with this particular tool, but you can buy these separately if you have a Dremel tool. And I believe they also make some foam ones that you can buy that'll work really nice for you know, turning it really slow. Like when you polish a real car, if you got an oxidized paint job, you polish aggressively with a wool pad and some heavy compound to get rid of the top layer. And then once you start working that down and you get it to where you like it, you finish up with a foam pad at really low RPM. And what that does is that gets out all the swirl marks and everything, and it makes it all smooth out with some really fine compound. Then you finish up with a nice hand wax. But so, like I said, this barely spins slow enough. There's some tools out there. I think, to me, it actually makes one of these that you actually have to build, and it's meant for drill bits and stuff, and it'll spin really, really slow. That might be what you want to look into. Over at micromark.com, they sell some different types of rotary tools like this, and you might be able to find something that I may look for something like that myself someday, where if I continue doing a lot of these cars, I will want something that's going to spin a little bit slower. But I've gotten used to this one, and you just have to be careful, like I said. So we're going to use some of our fine polishing compound now here, and I'm just going to spread it around on the hood. You don't want it to be on there like super thick, because the first second or two you start spinning your polishing wheel here, it's just going to sling it all over the place. So I'll just work it on there like that, and then let me just grab a paper towel and I'll get rid of some of the excess. Got a little too much. Okay, but you want to, you want to cover the whole thing like this, just like that. So then I'm going to just start off, like I said, in low speed here, as low as this thing will go, and I'm just going to start working my way on it. Kind of use this to brace myself a little bit. And I'm not putting any pressure on it. I'm not pushing against it. I'm just letting it touch it, and I'm just going around and I'm just moving it, like I said. Don't stay in one place. Keep moving. And we're going to try to get this looking as good as we can with this, and then I may finish up by hand, just buffing and polishing on it. Get that little extra nice look. Yeah, the good news is that fisheye looks like it's completely gone. That's great. I was worried that it was going to get down, right into the base coat, which would have been needing to, that means I would have to repaint it again. Or re-clear it, I mean. Okay, so you can see my compound starting to get kind of dry there, so I'll stop. You can kind of feel it when you're working with it. You can feel it. You'll feel the buffing wheel starting to get more grabby. You know what I mean? And that's when you want to stop. That's telling you that it's getting dry and you need to put some more compound on there. Okay, you can already see it's starting to come around. We've gotten rid of most of the really bad sanding scratches that were there. So it'll just take another light going over. I'm going to kind of focus in this area right here. I can see some pretty good sanding scratches. I see a few like right in here. Not too bad though. So we'll just kind of focus on that one spot. Get a little more compound here. Try to go easier on it this time. And then I think I'll do the rest by hand. All right. Make sure I'm super slow. Like I said, I am not pushing on this at all. I'm just letting it glide over the surface. That's why I'm kind of holding it kind of weird too. We're about gonna completely lose our silver on our hood pins, but that's all right. We'll fix that. Just take this side the same way. It's real light. Get that center part there again. Better stop because it's starting to get kind of dry. I think I'll give it one more shot here, guys, just to be safe. Okay. Get the grip on this thing again. Yeah, I'd really like to have a foam pad. That would be nice. It would really put a beautiful, perfect polish job on this. Especially if I found something that turned really slow. I'll look around for something like that. Okay, I think I'm going to call it a wrap for the buffing part on with the tool, and the rest of it we're going to get done by hand here. So I'm just going to work my way across, get this basic excess stuff off of here. Yeah, I can see I'm going to have to hit the tip of the hood. I missed that. It's still got pretty bad sand scratch on it, so I'll have to buff that. But it's looking a lot better, you guys. You can see it's already coming around where it's got that beautiful luster on there again. Get rid of this little... It's looking really nice. So we'll buff on this some more by hand. I'll go ahead and buff this little spot out right here. And then I'm going to come back and show you the wax. I'll just put a little bit of wax. We'll put some wax on the whole car. And any really super fine scratches that are still in this, those will completely disappear with that wax. So I'll do that and we'll come back and we'll be showing you the body of the car mounted on the chassis for the first time too. We'll be right back with that. Okay guys, time for the final steps on our Melba Toast build here. Here's the car. You can see it's all done. Everything has been put together on it. I've got the all the detail parts in place. Did my little chrome exhaust tips. Got my wheels looking really nice. I spent some time fiddling with the body on the chassis to get the stance of the car just the way I wanted it. And you got the detail of a nice engine, 454 sitting in there. We'll get you some beauty shots of this here. After we finish everything up, put it on the turntable and spin it around a few times, but you can see the paint job turned out really nice. Everything looks really clean. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and apply some wax on this thing, the final part of what I want to do here. So I'm just going to use a little Q-tip to apply it. I've got some of my Formula 1 Carnauba wax here. This is a really good brand of wax. It doesn't leave behind any of the white residue, you know, if you miss a few spots. So I'm just going to dip this in here and just put a little bit of it on. Don't need to go crazy with this stuff. Just a nice little thin layer. And we'll let it sit there for a minute or two and then we'll polish it out. Go up here on the roof. I'm not going to do every little bit of this car. I'm going to stay away from a lot of the, you know, the detail areas and stuff. I don't want to get it in, you know, somewhere where I might have a hard time getting it out of there. But all the major surfaces that you can see, you know, that are going to have that shine that'll reflect light, I want to try to get those pretty good. And again, I've got all this trim, you know, around the wheel wells and all that. I've got that sealed with the aqua gloss, so we're not going to have to worry about rubbing any of that off. It's got a nice hard shell over the top of it. But I'll still try and stay away from it as much as I can. As you can see, I'm not worried about being perfect here the way I'm laying this down, because we're just gonna, it's gonna spread around really nice when we're rubbing on it with the towel. So we'll give that just a minute here to cure up. Go ahead and put my wax away while we're waiting. You want to store this stuff, keep that, this comes with a nice metal container with a lid. You want to keep it sealed down on there nice and tight, so over time it doesn't dry up on you. But I love this stuff. I've been using it for years. It's got a nice smell too. It smells like coconut oil. Okay, so we have our Q-tip here. We're about there already on the hood, I would say, so we're going to start wiping the hood down. Got my nice clean detailer's towel here. We'll start taking this stuff off. Feels really good. It feels butter smooth. Just what we're hoping for. Make sure I get around the edges and everything real good. Okay, the hood's done. We'll set that off to the side. I'm just gonna gather up all the bunches in my towel so I don't have a lot of loose stuff flopping around that might snag something, and we'll just start wiping her down here. Looking good. Really smooth. Feels great. Okay, I'll come around here. Gotta be careful around that little mirror there on the side. Go across the windshield one time, get rid of all my fingerprints and stuff. Okay, I would say we're done, guys. Might have a couple little spots. Yeah, I see a little smudge right there in the windshield. Just really want to be careful not to snag my little mirror. right, you guys, I'm pretty darn happy with that. Hope you guys can see the nice shine we've got on that now. I'll probably go over it a few more times looking at it in different angles here, but I think it looks really good. Let's go ahead and put the hood down on it. I did a lot of work to get this hood to fit good. You can see that it's got no gaps up here at the front, as I talked about in the last video there. These little bezels right here, this little plastic part that goes back over the headlight bezels, they just were sticking forward a little bit and they were stubborn. So a little bit of CA glue and a little bit of heat made them come around and cooperate, so we didn't have a big gap in between the edge of the hood and those. And the back corners here fit good. I talked in the very beginning how I got rid of those two little mold pegs that were on the bottom of the hood that would have touched right there and had the hood sticking up. Now the nice part about this model too is that it takes me a minute to fiddle with it here, but you can see the hood stays up on it really nice too. So you can see the engine. As I said, it's missing the cowl. There's a fan shroud that's supposed to be on there on these Chevelles, but you can actually see the engine a little bit better that way. They gave you the nice turbo fire 454, 425 horsepower, I think it is, or whatever that says on there. Decal for the air breather, little Chevelle SS exhaust tips and everything. I went ahead and put Texas plates on it. Matthew McConaughey's from Texas, and they filmed Dazed and Confused in Austin, Texas. So I thought that'd be kind of nice. But it's looking great. All right, guys, we'll do one final review here. I'll put it on the old spinning wheel and let it spin around a few times so you guys can get a good look. I've still got to put the little headlight lenses in too. That's just one more thing I noticed. But after that, I think it's pretty well done, you guys. Turned out great. I'm really happy with it. All that little work we put into the paint job paid off. It's hard to make black look good, but it looks really nice. And I think the stance of the car is really good and all that. So there you go. All right, we'll be right back and show you the beauty shot of her spinning around on the old wheel.